Yeah, hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our presentation, Advanced Blockchain AG. We would like to present today our company, the current state of our company, and where we're heading. Firstly, these slides are in German because we actually thought that we're holding a German presentation today, but nonetheless, we will provide an English copy. So if you want to have an English copy after the presentation, we can send them to you. Yeah, so where are we standing today in terms of crypto adoption? We have the slide here for you where you can see that we are on the same growth trajectory as at the end of the 1990s when it comes to the internet usage. Back then, we had roughly the same amount of internet users, similar to where we are today with the global crypto users. The market dynamic is extensifying, which means that currently we are at a total market capitalization for cryptocurrencies in general of about 1.7 billion euros, which is up from 75% from Q4 2022. In total, we are more than 670 million crypto users today, which is mainly driven by the extensified efforts from institutional investors and major banks entering the space. Similarity also with the European Parliament and the MiCA regulation is strengthening the position in Europe. And you might have heard as well, we recently had a couple of Bitcoin ETF approvals, which led additional money and capital flow into this asset class. So yeah, today we have a couple of traditional players entering the space and actively working on their asset allocation.
So yeah, Simon, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Hi,
okay.
Sebastian.
So, yeah, no, great. Basically, yeah, on this slide, what you can see is that since 2020, institutional investors have increasingly approached Bitcoin as an asset class and are increasingly looking also at crypto as an asset class and have kind of gotten comfortable with the technical risks and the technical questions that needed to be answered before being able to make investments. The next step is that over the last 2 years, especially in the United States, Bitcoin has been legally, basically legally ruled as a commodity, which is very important. The key thing about a commodity that it is an emittent-free asset. So there is no counterparty risk. So this makes Bitcoin, according in the eye of the regulator in the US, and that's spreading internationally as well, is Bitcoin is comparable with gold or oil. Those two developments are very essential for what's currently happening, because we had basically the approval of the ETFs, which is basically allowing the largest asset managers in the world, BlackRock and Fidelity, to offer Bitcoin products, Bitcoin exposure to their clients, and ultimately allows large mutual funds and pension funds to get an allocation in the asset class, which wasn't possible before. So right now, to give you a view, the accumulation and volume of buying Bitcoin through those ETFs is around about 10 times of what is mined per day. So there is a significant demand shock, and the supply is stable for Bitcoin and is going to decrease. And we're going to tell you shortly why this is. So in addition, what you can see on this slide is that increasingly more traditional institutions and asset managers are coming into or bringing Bitcoin and crypto to their agenda and are increasingly spending time on the space. Which, of course, if you have the crypto native funds, those have usually raised quite significant funds in the recent years. They have had huge value appreciation in most cases. So they are growing as an investor in this asset class just genuinely. But in addition to that, we have larger and larger, more traditional capital pools that are expected to also tap their toes into the sector. So it's going to be a pretty interesting period of time to watch over the next couple of months. So next slide, please. Yeah, and what is really happening, or what we expect to happen, is very important factor that makes us very positive about this. I mean, you have one key thing is that Bitcoin is the key currency that's guiding the overall market. So crypto follows Bitcoin. That's why, in order to look at the overall crypto market, you need to look at Bitcoin specifically. One of the key differentiators of Bitcoin versus everything else is that the amount of Bitcoin is limited. So there's only going to be 21 million coins, and the distribution of the remaining roughly 2 million coins is very programmatic and known to all the market participants. And the creation of Bitcoin is exclusively happening through the process of mining, and is exclusively distributed to the miners that mine blocks to secure the network, which is the closest approximation of supply. So the daily supply is roughly 900 Bitcoin. But what will happen in April 2024 is something that's happening every 4 years, which is a reason why you happen to hear about Bitcoin and crypto in cycles, is the halving, which is basically the halving of the mining rewards per block. So when you today have 900 Bitcoin that are mined per day, from early April onwards, after the halving, it's only going to be 450 Bitcoin. So this has traditionally, even with an identical demand, has led to price increases of Bitcoin and crypto following Bitcoin because of the difference in supply and demand. Now that we have this additional factor of the ETFs, which are currently assuming 10 times the amount of Bitcoin being mined, there is going to be another, not only a supply shock in a negative way, there's going to be a demand shock in a positive way. So we have less Bitcoin soon for even more demand, which is going to usually create quite drastic price spikes, which we have seen through the last cycles, which you see on this chart. So it's relatively predictable. We never know what's going to happen. But if the past is the best approximator of the future, the past behavior has been relatively similar over the different cycles. So we are extremely bullish about this. And with that, I hand back to Simon to show you what we do at Advanced Blockchain.
Thank you very much, Sebastian, for this technical overview. Yeah, and maybe to summarize that, why is that so important for us at what we do at Advanced Blockchain AG? Is because that, generally speaking, the crypto market is strongly following Bitcoin and strongly following what the Bitcoin price is doing. So we can surely tell that Bitcoin has established itself not only as the biggest asset, as the biggest crypto asset, but also as kind of like the benchmark which is driving the entire market. So to speak, there's a general rule: when Bitcoin goes up, the market goes up, and when Bitcoin goes down, the market goes down. Hence why we track these things very regularly. We have also some price prediction models. So for us, it's extremely important to be aware of these market cycles. And as Sebastian pointed out, the technicalities around the Bitcoin halving is very important for us and our group of companies. So now I would like to go more into detail of where we're coming from. As you can see here on the chart, the Advanced Blockchain AG was founded back in 2017 as a pure blockchain as a service company. What does that mean? Blockchain as a service is basically a business model where we provided partners at the very beginning of our growth journey, strategic input, but also software development services. As you can see here on the left, we work with different companies together, such as the machine manufacturer DMG Mori, the telecom industry player Vodafone, or also the automobile manufacturer Volkswagen. We did so-called proof of concepts, POCs, with these companies very, very early on. And this is how we earned our first money. We then also, back in 2017 and 2018, placed some early stage investments because we saw the entire ecosystem around us evolving and more projects popping out here and there. Back then, Berlin was the hotspot in Europe for these new projects. We then invested in companies which are namely known, like Polkadot, Near, but also Manta Network. Today and the past few years, we have built up a portfolio of about 30 portfolio companies, all in different stages of growth, which I will point out later again. However, we also realized that there's a lot of resources within our group and in our network, namely speaking, software development services, but also architecture, software architecture, and project management skills. Therefore, we decided back in 2021 to build out our incubation arm, which we call internally AB Labs, and build projects such as Composable, Peak, or Panoptic. All of these projects today are very, very strongly growing, and we are pleased to tell today that we have had some recent strong portfolio successes as well. Recently, last year, we also published our first net asset valuation of our top 10 holdings, alongside with GBC, also evaluating our entire portfolio. Here, I want to point out that we are not purely token investors, but we also have some investments on the equity side. So we both have equity and token. Next up, from 2024 onwards, Sebastian already pointed it out, we see a strong increase of institutional interest in this asset class. Hence why you today also see Bitcoin at $52,000 and Ethereum about to cross the $3,000 line. This is really because these big players are launching own products, they engage in the market, and even traditional players like the St. Galler Kantonalbank or the Zuger Kantonalbank, or just recently Postfinance here in Switzerland as well, they are really entering this market and offering their clients solutions where they can engage in this industry. And this is simply speaking because these clients are asking for these solutions. And therefore, these traditional players want to play part here and don't want to basically stand in the dark at the end. So in general, to summarize that, what is advanced blockchain then? Well, we're not only a holding company, an investment company, but we're also building out our own technologies and our own projects, which we bring to the market and provide valuable input, which is not there before. To categorize this a little bit of also how we invest and how we incubate and what this means in terms of our competitors, specifically in Germany, as this is a international capital market forum, but we are a listed German company. We wanted to give you also a little bit of an overview of what we do and with whom are we doing this. So as you can see here, advanced blockchain is positioning itself as the very, very early stage. So which means pre-seed or seed is usually our sweet spot, the rounds where we engage the most. We did in the past already do Series A and consistently also looking into where we can also maybe provide growth capital. But in general, where we really see our sweet spot is identifying founding teams, projects, technology as early as possible, and then basically invest or incubate. Here you can see also a summary of the co-investors, both on the listed and not listed side we are engaging with. Mostly, we also co-invest alongside tier 1 venture capital funds like Andreessen Horowitz, Solana Ventures, GSR, or Blockchain Capital, which are all multi-billion-dollar venture capital funds. Here on the right again, our 4 biggest notable incubations, which we in the last years produced. Yeah, to basically summarize that in terms of successes, which also really proves that the business model of incubation has worked in the past for us. Here on the left, again, our four biggest incubations: Composable, Peak, Panoptic, and Quasar. Here to point out that at the end of 2022, we exited Quasar. But nonetheless, it is important to point out here that all these initial ideas and projects, which were partially born in the advanced blockchain ecosystem, went on to become extremely successful projects themselves, and they are growing faster and faster. Here you can see on the left again the recent rounds. For instance, Composable raised over $30 million in a Series A. We have Peak with over 8 million euros funded, and also recently Panoptic has had a great success with another seed round, having a total of over $11 million now in funding. In the years 2022 and also particularly in 2023, we were fortunate enough that we had some extremely interesting investment offers or disinvestment offers as well, meaning that we used the opportunities to also did partial or full exits with some of the portfolio positions we had. To summarize this now in terms of value, we decided as one of the first players in Europe to do an independent assessment of our top 10 portfolio holdings. We did this the first time last year on the 31st of May, 2023. There, the overall result was that we had a net asset value of the top 10 holdings of about 39.65 million euros with a investment price or book value of 4.9 million euros. Now, just this morning, we actually published a new evaluation, which we do on a frequent basis, on a biannual basis. And from the date, the 31st of December 2023, we had a portfolio holding value of the top 10 assets of 57.5 million euros. Here again, as opposed to about 5 million euros book value. What are the top four value drivers here? Well, it's mainly Peak, Composable, Panoptic, and Polymer. But there are also extremely interesting other assets which we believe are set for absolute high growth, which we will publish in the next few weeks on the investor relation subpage on our website, because we see it's extremely important to give our investors more transparency and more in-depth knowledge about our portfolio holdings. I believe GBC will also soon look at the entire portfolio again, but here's a summary again from the 12th of July 2023. After holding costs of 2 million euros, we were standing with the whole portfolio at 88 million euros net asset value. Yeah, so what is mainly driving value right now, and where do we also capture recurring revenue sources? On the left side, you can see the Canary test network of Composable, Picasso. They listed their Pika token recently after TGE. Many of you may have followed the recent developments. But of course, as an early investor in Composable, Advanced Blockchain has also received a substantial amount of tokens, which we are partially also were able to sell at some prices recently. Same accounts for the Canary test network Peak, which is called Crest. Also here, they have launched a token, and as we were early engaged in the Peak project, we have also received quite a substantial amount of token, which we also recently shared with the entire market in terms of dollar or euro figures, to give you some examples here. And in general, all the projects which we are investing usually at one point have a so-called token generation event, which really drives value for us and our companies, because you all of a sudden have a liquid token, a liquid market, and can sell at any given time, just like we have here for Picasso or here for Peak. I do not know exactly how much the trading volume right now is, but here's an example. For instance, January 11, you have about 1.8 million euros in 24-hour volume, which of course is quite a substantial amount, which allows us and as investors to basically sell or buy new positions at any given time. Back to you, Sebastian.
Great, thank you, Simon. So basically, yeah, looking at ABX analytics and then what we plan in the months and years to come. So basically, we've recently, in light of a changing market sentiment in 2022 and 2023, we have positioned ourselves as a very lean company and reduced a lot of costs, just because runway is one of the key metrics in the blockchain space. We also had the ability, or we see now a good opportunity and have been seeing this for some months, to do further investments at very attractive conditions. So while the market cap of the overall crypto market and Bitcoin has basically gone up already, a lot of the projects are still kind of in, I'd say, like crypto spring, late crypto winter even. So funding is scarce, and we have a pretty good position and can leverage this position into doing pretty good deals at attractive terms for us. What we obviously had to do in order to do this, we had to develop processes that allow us to be very efficient in basically looking at a lot of projects. And in order to do this, we've looked at all the available data. We've looked at the key platforms that provide those data. We have aggregated this for ourselves in a dashboard and have mapped what we see are the core KPIs that we would like to look at. We've then realized that a lot of the data is really that we look at is really qualitative and not quantitative. A lot of it is driven by desktop research. So we are looking to leverage the process automation abilities of AI and ChatGPT and the likes in order to allow us to aggregate data that's not necessarily provided by a data platform, in order to basically get a very comprehensive overview of the project that we want to invest in, and to bring this to a moment where we can make proper and pretty fundamental investment decisions. At the same time, we're trying to automate and systemize this and present it in a understandable way for us, but also mixing different KPIs to try to get to better ratios in order to make better decisions. When we've been talking about this, I'm still on the other slides. When we have been basically challenging this with friendly crypto VCs, we've realized that to our surprise, every one of them was kind of working on something similar, but no one's really has made it top of mind, which showed us that there is a significant opportunity. If the leading crypto funds in the world have not heavily invested in doing this, we assume, and we've validated this assumption, there is a huge demand from even more traditional players to basically come up with a similar product or use a similar product by buying it from someone who can provide this. And this has motivated us to basically build a solution ourselves and make this top of mind. And then basically we have already identified the early users, which are some friendly VCs that we know well and that have expressed interest. But we feel that with the institutional adoption that's happening, with increasing family office capital and private semi-professional and professional capital coming into the space, we see that there's a very, very strong need for this, and there's a very big opportunity for developing this as a software or data as a service product. And as Simon said, when we've been advising companies on integrating blockchain technology into the operations back in 2018, 2019, we have kind of evolved, having done the 360-degree investing, developing, going to market funding of blockchain projects and incubations. And we are simply translating this into being the Sherpa or partner to the next cohort of adopters, which is institutional capital. And that's just really a logical step for us evolving as advanced blockchain into more financially driven products and the financial industry, where we again can act as a bridge builder between the traditional and the new world. So yeah. And if you look on the slide, so this shows a couple of a demo view basically. So what's important and what we've identified is the people that drive projects are important. One of the key KPIs is really people that have been in this space before it was very obvious that this space could make money. So that was really before 2017. There are a couple of metrics. I don't want to talk too much about all of them, but what we've realized, there's a lot of quantitative data, price data, but for value investing, price data is really not important. What's important is we need to understand what's happening on the blockchain, how many transactions are done, how many users are using the blockchain, how many volume is being processed through the blockchain, how many transactions are being made, and see momentum there. So we see this next phase of investment is going to be driven by being able to extract data from the blockchain in order to generate alpha investment decisions. And that's exactly what we are aiming at. And these are two slides or two screenshots that show you how this is supposed to work. You can click through a lot of this. We will aggregate it. We keep it up to date. We increase or we enrich this with qualitative data that we know from the experiences of the last 5 years exactly what this data is. So we basically create a VC or investing dashboard that allows everyone that's not necessarily an expert in the space to look at projects and generate actionable outcomes. And there's a lot of advisory and support functionality that we have in mind that we will offer alongside this, and basically assume the position as the trusted partner of this next cohort of crypto adopters, which we expect to see. And we are pretty excited about that. Looking at the roadmap, I've touched on most of this. So we've validated the concept with some of the leading VCs in the space. We are currently developing the project, the MVP of the project. We will basically show this MVP to the first customers in course of Q2. And we should be able to then win those customers shortly after, as we've been in very, very concrete and intimate dialogue with them. And then we look to really go live before mid of the year, and then scale the product from the second half of this year onwards.
Thank you, Sebastian. Yeah, to summarize that, because I see we only have 2 more minutes left. Advanced blockchain has really positioned itself as the key driver in the European blockchain industry to provide its investors a unique exposure to this disruptive technology, with a portfolio of 30 portfolio companies, all engaging in different fields, very heavy also on the decentralized finance side, of course. But as I mentioned before, Advanced Blockchain is not a pure investment holding company. We are also a technology company which is working on new solutions and producing new products, and then also bringing them to market, just like ABX Analytics, which we are working on right now. We have a successful track record of more than 5 years of investment, and we are the listed blockchain company to provide our investors early stage access to these high growth companies, which most of our competitors can't do in that extent. And this is how we position ourselves today. We see extremely many growth opportunities also in different markets. I myself just came back from a long trip in Japan. There, the crypto adoption is just accelerating because the government now also puts out new laws which allows venture capitalists to invest directly into blockchain companies, which was not allowed before. We also see extremely much growth in the United Emirates. There we also have portfolio companies and also subsidiaries of Advanced Blockchain AG, where we're also looking into launching different products right now. And overall, with the entire market sentiment around Bitcoin and the upcoming ETF approvals for Ethereum, it will be in an extremely exciting time, especially before the Bitcoin halving, which we would like you to capture with us. And that's why we invite you to invest in Advanced Blockchain, because we are having these track records, as I mentioned.